Yeah, this is another good book. The Anunnaki, The Sacred Science of the Black God, by Wesley Mohammed, PhD. Right, so I was originally going to read this book, Chariots of the Black Gods, again by Brother Wesley Mohammed, PhD. Brother Wesley Mohammed is so meticulous. There's no hiding. There's no hiding with this brother. What he's basically done here is brought the mythology of the Sumerian Anunnaki down to earth, basically, and proving how it wasn't like these giants coming from like outer space. That was popularized by that Zachariah Sitchin. And mixing DNA of these giants with monkeys or whatever they did, making the human race and using them for mining gold, and having this like massive Nibiru planet circling coming into the atmosphere every 3,600 years or whatever. I'm basically going on a mad one. He basically like breaks it down, brings it back to earth, and as always, full of notes. He just proves it. Notes upon notes upon notes, man. So, some pages are like full of notes rather than the actual text itself. But anyway, yeah, Brother Wesley goes in, man. So I was notified by this book because this one just come out. So I got this, and then my brother told me about this one. So I had to pick this one up real quick because they tend to sell out. Because brothers started to put them on Amazon for us in Britain to buy them. Because some brothers are like, they're not receiving the books from the website. They're obviously being blocked by, unforeseen powers. Well, we know why, but that's another story. But yeah, so he's made it accessible for us on Amazon so we can get him. So thanks to Brother Wesley for that. So these are apparently like excess notes from this book, but he expanded on him and decided to put them in a book. So yeah, man, the scholarship, Brother Wesley is amazing. But anyway, there's a couple of things in here, in this book. You learn so much, man. That's why you got to read. You just got to continuously read. I'm telling you. Until your last breath, you just got to like read and read and read. There's always more. But let's have a look. It talks about Nibiru. Well, I'm on the contents page. So let's have a little look. I don't know whether you can see that. Nibiru, Allah, the original man. How came the black god? We are all Allah. Obviously, he explains himself and proves himself. Osteology trumps iconography. So he's looking at these ancient Sumerian people from the studies of the bones, basically. And he shows how they are basically the same people as the Akkadians. Let's have a look at this. Why are the black gods red? Allah, black gods of ancient Arabia. So he goes into all of this in the book. Very, very enlightening. Right, let's have a look at Nibiru. Where are you? Because I thought this was interesting. Right, let's have a read of this. Sitchin also misidentified Nibiru, found in the Mesopotamian texts. He claimed it is a 12th planet recognized in Sumerian cosmology, and he claimed that it was a distant planet beyond Pluto that enters our solar system only every 3,600 years. Sitchin's Nibiru was inhabited by the Anunnaki gods. The Sumerians' Nibiru, or Nebiru, however, knew none of this. As Dr. Clyde Winters wrote, a careful translation of these seals indicate that they have nothing to do with space travel or the so-called Nibirans. The Mesopotamian text described Nebiru as an astronomical body that marks an equinox. The term was specifically identified with the planet Jupiter and or a star of Jupiter, and less frequently with Mercury. You see? That's why you've got to study. You can't take people's word for it. You've got to do your own study. So there's a lot of people out there thinking that this is like some big off planet type thing from like the mythological stories, when it just weren't. Right, let's have a look down here. So there's a Sumerian king. Sumerian king of Lagash, sorry. 2130 BC. And there is Hammurabi, Akkadian, 1792 BC. Now these figures look like they were made out of like hard rock, like basalt or something, and the nose have mysteriously like come off again. Everything else looks intact, but the nose, so it looks like they make the nose out of like a softer stone. That's the only thing I can think of, because I don't know why the nose is always missing. I don't know. So, you know, these are people coming from like Arabia into the old Sumeria. Let me try and blow this up a bit, if you can see. Do you know what I mean? Look at it on the map. It's not that far-fetched. All they've got to do is cross that Persian Gulf, or just go through Kuwait on land. You know, it's not that far-fetched. You know, it's like, no, they could never have come from there and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but yeah, but look at the map. I don't think people look at maps, you know. I don't know. So he talks about like the black bull, which stood out to me, explains the black bull in ancient mythology and stuff. And after reading it, it makes sense now why you've got this black bull and everything. And like it's come all the way down through the ages. You've got the Spaniards having the bullfights and stuff like this. It's basically about the luminous black god clothing himself in flesh. That's why it's black. The black body of the original man. You know, so it's very straightforward. And I also found this interesting, talking about the symbolism of geometrical shapes. The early work of classical scholar and antiquarian Richard Payne Knight helps to illuminate this geometrical revolution in his important work, The Symbolic Language of Ancient Art and Mythology. Knight points out that in the traditions of antiquity, fire and water are the primary symbols of the active and passive productive powers of the universe. Fire, the active power, was masculine and was represented by a circle, while water was the feminine passive power represented by the square or rectangle. The ancients understood that productivity resulted from the interaction of the two, the solar and the aquatic. So that explains more about how the Egyptian pharaohs always sat on that square. And in here, you've got pictures of the Sumerians sitting on a square. and it's got squiggles in it to signify water, or like physical reality. So yeah, this is it's absolutely brilliant. This is. I don't really think you need that number because you can just get it off Amazon anyway. But yeah, go and buy this book, man. It's fantastic. The Anunnaki and the Sacred Science of the Black God. I think get this one too. Chariots of the Black Gods. Peace.